Hey listeners, Dennis Wisco here. Today's episode is a rather different one. Rather than featuring a guest interview, I wanted to share with you a profound answer to a question that I asked a previous guest when we reconnected. Back before I joined the automotive industry, I worked in educational fundraising. I was tasked with prospecting and cultivating donors who were capable of making major gifts. Major gifts is a subjective terminology, and usually I would say in the case of what my responsibilities, it was of $25,000 donations and more. The area of philanthropy is much different than the normal sales process because giving money to an organization usually fulfills a donor's passion in life. I remember when I switched from fundraising to car sales, I always said that before, I would always ask people for $100,000 and in return, that person got a tax deduction. But in car sales, if you gave me $100,000, then I would give you an Audi A8. One of the things I was taught in fundraising was how to get your donor to think big. Again, this is philanthropy. A donor wants to achieve big things with their money. So there was a very particular question that I was trained to ask. I had the chance to ask this question to the previous guest, who you will hear from shortly. Back in July of 2018, I met the dealer principal of Honda of downtown LA, Mr. Joe Schuster. He was getting ready to give a talk at a conference on serving the multi-generational customer. Joe was originally from New York and moved out west to Los Angeles to take over this bankrupt dealership that is Honda of downtown LA.
You know, 1991, I went to college, and my mom, I'll never forget, I'm living in Brooklyn, New York, and my mother calls me up. She says, I'd love for you to go to college. And I said, Ma, we can't afford it. Going to college. I was waiting tables at a restaurant in the Village, and I thought I was going to be a professional waiter, whatever that meant. Yeah. But so I took a small loan for my first semester, and I needed a job. And there was a local car dealership up the street, and I figured honestly, I went there to wash cars. I never thought I'd sell cars, but I met a great guy. And I remember when I first became a dealer, I sent this guy a letter. His name was Mike Byatt, and he was the general manager of the dealership. And he said to me, he goes, "Hey kid, why don't you sell cars?" And I said, "I'm a full-time college student, and he goes, "It's okay, we'll work around your schedule. What time do you go to school?" I said, I'm on campus at 8, and my classes are done around 12:30. He goes, "Well, after school, come to the store, and work to close." It's funny now as a dealer, if I have young guys and gals that are going to school or are trying to accomplish something else in their life, but they want to make a good living, I want them in our business. It's a different time. It's a great time to be in our business, and I want them to actually say, "Hey, you know what? I want to work at LA Honda, but I am going to school. Can you work something out with me?" And I say, "Sure, absolutely."
Fast forward to July of 2020, and Joe and I reconnected. He informed me that his store had been successfully acquired by Brandon Stevens Motors, which is an auto group out of Wichita, Kansas. So now that Joe has had a successful exit of his store, it was a great opportunity to ask him this philanthropic question I was trained to ask. This question is a very specific one, and I encourage you to remember it, to recite it, and to even use it in your professional as well as personal lives. As a side note, I even asked my wife this question when we were just dating. Here's the question. What would you like to accomplish with your money that is most meaningful to you? Again, I encourage you to remember it, recite it, and use it in your professional and personal life. Let me restate the question. What would you like to accomplish with your money that is most meaningful to you? And if you are up for the task, I encourage you to answer that question. So in this episode, I hope you find a bit of inspiration from Joe's answer, and that you find some time to answer the same question yourself. You can always Zoom bomb me, and I'll be happy to guide you to your philanthropic passions by asking you this question. So here is Joe Schuster's answer to the question, what would you like to accomplish with your money that is most meaningful to you? When I asked him this question, he paused for about a good 10 seconds, and then he said this.
I want to be able to make that money grow truthfully and continue to assist people in making their lives better. That money sitting in an account does nothing for anybody other than maybe a broker. But investing that money changes people's lives. And I think looking at the LA Honda story, the money we invested here 8.5 years ago has changed so many people's lives. And money is great. I mean, I don't think anyone can say money is, having money, there's a sense of security, right? Which is great. But the real value to money is having it work so you can help people change their lives for the better. That's what I want to do with my money.
You had framed it as in you wanted to grow truthfully.
No, I wanted to grow. Truthfully, truthfully, the reality of it is having money is a good thing. There's a security factor in that, especially if you come from humble beginnings, right? There's a necessity for that blanket, if you will. But the real goal to having money is having it grow so you can assist people in achieving what they want to achieve and making their lives better. Listen, at the end of the day, think about it. You have all the money in the world. You die, you leave it to your wife or your kids, whatever it is. That's great. And I guess you could say, hey, I was successful, but that's really not successful, right? That's really not. Having your money work so you can continue to make everyone's life better. I mean, and you see guys like Bill Gates, or Warren Buffett, their money is working and it's still growing with their companies and businesses, but they're doing a great job in philanthropy and making people's lives better. I mean, that's a much bigger scale, obviously, right? Whether it be through, some of the stuff that Bill Gates does with his foundation or the donations and the philanthropy that Warren Buffett does, is involved in. I mean, I think what those guys and guys like them, people like them, do a tremendous service to the world. And I think, I look up to that. I really do.
So specifically with Bill Gates, I don't know how Warren Buffett does it, but with Bill Gates, he's obviously involved in the type of philanthropy that is involved in medicine.
Yes.
And wanting to cure, wanting to develop vaccines, wanting to give more care to people in Africa.
Yep.
So that's how he's making lives better.
Yep.
How do you frame the concept of making lives better?
That's a good question. So for me, I look at it more so from an economic standpoint. So getting people to work, having them in a job where they can advance and create wealth for themselves, and basically being able to pass that along through their children, their colleagues, and God willing, their businesses. My grandfather taught me many years ago when we came to this country, when you're having a bad day, go to work. Work will fix so many things. And if you look at it as guys our age now, it does. It gets your mind right. You have a sense of pride. You're making your own check. And I think you feel better about yourself. There's a confidence boost to do more, do better, shine, if you will, right? And be productive. I think that's so important. I think there's so many people that don't realize that. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think there's a lot of politicians today that don't understand that. Having a person, man, woman, whatever it is, whatever color, religion, race, creed, doesn't matter. Having that person have a job, a career, and work their way up the ladder, and not just get the pat on the back, but get that check and have that check grow because of their production or their good production, I think is priceless. And I think that can solve so many. That's why when you hear, hey, we have a 3.5% unemployment rate. Hey, that's fantastic. So many people are working. People are feeling good. Not that they're just spending money. They're feeling good about themselves. When they're at work, they're earning a check, they're productive, their confidence level is it just plus, 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 plus. I think what Bill Gates is doing, I think is fantastic. And I agree. He's in the medical vaccine saving lives world. And that's very, very special. My level, I think I can get people to work. I think I can get people to be productive. I think I can get people that are just starting out in life and show them the value of an honest check and hard work.
That was Joe Schuster, the dealer principal of Honda of downtown LA. He's an entrepreneur who accomplished something that all entrepreneurs want to accomplish, and that is a successful exit and a life-changing event. Congrats, Mr. Joe Schuster, on all the hard work, on the years of work, sacrifice, and diligence in getting to this point. I'm going to reserve the last 4 minutes of this episode for you to explore the question, what would you like to accomplish with your money that is most meaningful to you? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Wisco Weekly.